Good morning. I want to quickly tell you about this. Yeah, my format which I've been used to is the AMD concept, the accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. So a lot of people have been asking me about that. They go to my website. That they go to our website, they see AMD as different from the Malaysian mSnR. There's no difference. So I just want to use this to show you that there's no difference in both. So it's the same thing. It's the same. That's why I adopt the Malaysian mSnR in my trading plan, but it goes with it's helping to redefine the AMD concept very well. Yeah, let me redefine it very well. So they go to my website and were saying, why am I teaching Malaysian mSnR? I've never let go AMD concept. AMD concept has been the setup and the entry pattern for my trading plan. That's always been the aim, because it is all about manipulation. If you watch the Malaysian supply resistance level very well, it is all about manipulation. So they just use the body to body, or this in down the wick. Yeah, that's just the logic there. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. If you have for example, if you have if you have the mSnR level here, you have an mSnR level here, and price came up to tap into this and got rejected. That's why if you go to my manual, you will see the first introductory part of it as, I lay emphasis on price rejection. I introduce it to the price rejection before I open up the Malaysian mSnR. It's to tell you everything is all about manipulation. What is manipulation in the market? When price rejects the higher price and the lower price of the market, that's manipulation. Yeah. So taking out the institutional traders taking advantage of the retail traders at the support and resistance level. So if you get this as your resistance level and price tap into it, got rejected, that's manipulation. That's manipulation from the AMD concept. Yeah. So price, moves, the ranges, and then moves higher to take out these levels of this, and then got rejected. That's manipulation. So it sells into the opposite. Instead of moving higher, it sells to the opposite, starts coming down to the opposite. That's manipulation. That's AMD. AMD is simply accumulation, then manipulation. I just want to, there's nothing new about there's nothing different about the concept. It's the same thing. So I'm just using this as a trading plan for my personal. Yeah. This is AMD. Accumulation, price ranges, and then it manipulates the highs and the lows of the market, then sets into the opposite after the manipulation. That's what I've been also reduced to be about the news. To trade the news, you use manipulation strategy, the AMD strategy to trade the news. Yeah, like what happened here. You see what happens here. Price ranges, then takes out the gap level, then got rejected, then push downward. That's AMD. That's AMD. This AMD too. Price ranges, take out the mSnR level, then got rejected and sets into the opposite. That's AMD. Yeah. Then in a buy setup, this is it. It got rejected. This is it. Price moves higher, then got got into it, that got injected, and buy into the opposite. So this is a accumulation, manipulation, then distribution to the opposite side. So that is AMD. That's AMD, and there's a close correlation, a positive correlation between AMD and the Malaysian mSnR. So my AMD concept help me to understand the logic behind mSnR. That's why, glory be to God, I've been given a very good acknowledgement because of my deep knowledge on the manipulation strategy. Yeah, help me to understand mSnR very well, even than any other person. Yeah, that's why I'll be able to be defining other things like the liquidity sweep and the rest of them. Yeah. So if you want to understand my AMD concept very well, you have to first of all understand how each candlestick is being formed, the logic behind each candlestick. Yeah. So if candle is going to come down, that means it must first open here, push higher to create the higher of that particular session, then comes lower to create the low, then close like that. Yeah. So that's this is for that a bearish candle. Then for bullish candle, the opposite then down. So we have the low be created after the opening of the market, price came down and then pushed higher. Then close from the bullish session. That's how. But then if you look at this from the daily, the intraday, see what how the manipulation happens in between the market sessions, right? Price may likely take out the price opens at the London market, opens and we take out either the high or the low of the Asian region, then manipulate to the opposite. Yeah. So this is what happened. So this is what happened. This is AM. So you only use your DC to know the storyline, the rejection and the higher time frame there. But if you switch lower to a lower time frame, you're able to see the concept very well, the manipulation concept very well. That's evolving out of that higher time frame storyline. See very well. That's how I concept very well. So be able to hit there. That's helped me a lot. That's helped me a lot. So if you don't understand AMD concept, I have a video on YouTube. You see the video, the first video, the very first video on my YouTube channel. You see AMD concept there. That I have seen some videos that I did AMD concept, especially on gold. Yeah, on gold market. How good has been manipulated up and down. Yeah. Now I want to tell you that for this strategy, we're able to use a kind of pattern that is so much interesting. That's the gap SNR, gap SNR, yeah, gap SNR. So interesting, and gap. So interesting. So when we talk about gap, you know what I mean by gap. So when we talk about gap, it talks about see a candlestick going up, a two candlestick in the same direction, right? In the same direction, two candlestick in the same direction. That's it. If this is a bearish candlestick, this is a bearish gap, right? So we have this here as what as the mSnR, and price moves. The price moves to clear this board off this, then comes down. Yeah, to sell. But if we have a close, if it does not, or if you have a close above this place, that means it's continuing upward. It's moving upward. Yeah, that's a gap. That's a gap. So that's why we use this as what as a pattern for the entry stuff. If you have a at level of have a level of your DC here, you have your DC here at mSnR level here, which we call the amount of interest, the POI, the high probability POI, and then higher. That means that's the gap. That's the gap that have it set by the on. Yeah, that's the gap set up for you then. So that means if you see a gap approaching an mSnR level, I normally emphasis on this. If you see a gap is approaching an mSnR level, take note, take note, take note. Like this is gap. This is a gap. This is a gap, right? This is a gap. AMD. Then we have a gap here forming at level of the manipulation leg. What happens? Price moves. Price moves. Have a rejection here, and price moves higher. That's a gap. See a gap here. See a gap here. See a gap here. Let's take this out. So this is manipulation, right? This is this would be accumulation. 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 Why we have price going on to manipulate the gap level. The gap level. Then after the manipulation, we have the distribution of profit to the opposite. Yeah. So this will be the manipulation, which is what we call another thing we call a stop hunt. I call it stop hunt manipulation. Call it stop hunt on my stop hunt SH. Yeah. Then we have distribution into the opposite side. Distribution of profits. After the manipulation, we have profit. This is the leg of distribution, right? So that is what you have here. That's what you have here. Before then, you have a liquidity graph here. That will give you a good clip. I'm not supposed to dig this out, but I have to just have a liquidity graph here. Have a liquidity graph. Yeah. Our price got there, and like what happened here. See liquidity graph here. There's liquidity graph here. There's liquidity graph, right? Liquidity graph. The price manipulate into this level, and so pay attention to this closely. Pay attention to this. And stop hunt. You can use this. This is what we can. You can use this to trade the news. So what you use to trade the news. So we have distribution of profit from this place downward. Profit. Yeah. So that's my AMD concept we use for mSnR setup and entry level. Yeah. So we have this and price moves. Price moves. So when you have this at this, then you set up your short position, put your stop loss for that high, then you target this goal, and price go through. See? Yeah, so you got almost about how many there? It's in 3 days. Yeah, so that is the concept of AMD in brief. That's the concept of in brief. So we can see, if you watch carefully here at this place, you see that there is a kind of a this here. If you watch carefully, price approaches this here with a gap, this level here with a gap. So you see it, see a gap. So that's what this guy has been telling you. RFT, that when you see a gap level, approaching an mSnR level, or a particular key, a POR, pot of interest, which I call pot of interest in my own language. That means you should take note. What is a pot of interest? Is a key resistance level, support level. Like this place, this is a key resistance level. Approach gap. Then here is a key resistance level. Gap, a gap. And this is another level of resistance, then a gap, T gap, price came down. This is resistance, T gap. This support, mSnR support, a gap, T gap. Yeah. So that's that's just want to tell you, it's the same thing. So there's no argument on this and that, you didn't any this that to understand that mSnR is all about manipulation. So that's why I adopted it and I use AMD concept as a setup and but so we see a lot of this in them. Well, please get a lot with this. That is correlation. It's the same. God bless you.